Thank you for trusting us in handling your personal injury claim.
Hi, my name is Rick Park,
And I'm Angel Chenaur.
and we're the partners here at Park, Chenaur and Associates, and we wanted to give you some helpful tips in getting you started with your personal injury claim. The first tip is go to your doctor and then follow his or her recommendations.
It's really important to go to your doctor. Number one, because it's important for healing and for you to get better.
When you go to the doctor, you document your injuries, and when we make a personal injury claim later, it's helpful to have those injuries documented.
In addition, it shows that you're taking active steps to get better. Avoid any gaps in treatment. What we like to see in a personal injury claim is consistent treatment, going to the doctor regularly and as scheduled.
Yeah, and if there are gaps in treatment, then it's important to either tell your doctor or to tell us why there's a gap in treatment, so it can later be explained when we make the claim for them.
Right, so if you've had a death in the family or something that you have to go out of town for a week, call us, tell your doctor, explain what happened and why you actually couldn't go. Another thing to remember about going to the doctor and about this process of healing is that it does take time and that you have to be patient.
Sometimes what we'll have is clients who go to the doctor 3 or 4 times and they get the same treatment during those 3 or 4 times, and if they don't get better, they immediately think that it's not working.
Mm-hmm. And it's frustrating. I mean, this has happened to you and it's upset your whole life and your whole schedule, and everybody wants to get better right now.
Yeah.
But it does take time, and so you have to be patient and follow your doctor's recommendations and advice.
Yeah, but on the other side of things, what we also want to be careful of is treating for like 6 months, doing the same thing, just spinning your wheels.
Right, and not improving. So the other thing to remember is that if you don't see improvement over an extended period of time, for months and months, and you're doing the same thing, talk to somebody about it. Talk to your provider about it. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, and if you do talk to us, although we're not medical doctors, we've seen thousands of these cases, so we can at least help you in giving you options.
The last thing to remember is to keep us apprised of any large changes in your treatment regimen. So if your physician actually refers you out to a neurologist or a plastic surgeon, call us and let us know.
Yeah, because if you don't let us know and it's not in the medical record, then we'll have no idea that you went to this other provider, and we won't be able to recover that money for you. And there's some important things in the records that may show up that may really benefit your case. The second tip that we want to talk to you about is getting your medical bills paid by insurance whenever possible.
So if you have personal injury protection on your auto policy, which we refer to as PIP, PIP will normally be primary.
Yeah, unless it's a on-the-job injury, then Labor and Industries would be primary then. But most times, if you do have personal injury protection, then that's the first insurance coverage that would pay for your medical bills. And it's very important, if you do have PIP, that those medical bills are paid through PIP.
We always want to get all your medical bills paid through insurance whenever possible. So secondary would be health insurance. And the other thing to always remember is when you go into the doctor, be sure everybody knows all of your insurance. Don't stop at informing them of what your PIP policy is. Go on and give them your health insurance, and if you have Medicare, give them all the information.
Yeah, and that's important for a couple of different reasons. Number one, if you get those medical bills paid up front, then they don't go to collections, they don't affect your credit. Number two, when those medical bills get paid up front, like for example in health insurance, it reduces the total medical bill, which ultimately helps you at the end of your case because we don't have to pay back as much.
And sometimes the difference is substantial.
Yeah, and then lastly, at the very end of the case, there's something called subrogation, which means when we collect money from the at-fault party and we got to repay these medical insurance providers who, either medical insurance or PIP, who paid for the medical bills up front, we get a discount because of Washington state case law, because you're represented by an attorney, we get a discount in repaying them, which ultimately helps you in the amount of money we're able to recover for you.
So the lesson is we always want to use insurance. And in addition to that, always make sure that we have all your insurance information.
Some people ask, well, if I use my PIP, will that raise my insurance? And in Washington state, that's against the law. So you can use your PIP and not worry about your insurance premium being raised. If you have no medical insurance whatsoever, you have no PIP, you have no health insurance, you have no state aid, still you're okay because we can arrange so that you can get treatment on a lien basis.
So what he means by a lien basis is that we will work with the chiropractor or the massage or physical therapist or whoever the provider is to pay them at the end of your case. So once your case settles, they will hold everything until then, and then we'll pay them at the very end.
The third tip we wanted to talk about is getting you reimbursed for your wage loss.
And if you have PIP, you can get this paid up front.
Yeah, which is really nice because if you're used to making a certain amount of money or you're on a budget, if you don't have PIP, you got to wait till the end of your case before you recover this wage loss money.
Which can be a huge detriment to people.
Yeah.
So there's a couple really important things to remember about using your PIP. Number one, you have to have a doctor's note. So it's very, very critical to get an excuse from your doctor that you're medically, physically incapable of working.
Yeah, and if you feel like you can't work, you should ask your doctor for a medical note. The second thing you're going to need is you're going to need documentation from your employer. And that's,
so PIP is going to want to confirm that you've actually been missing work or been unable to work.
yeah. And the documentation from your employer will let them know how many hours you've missed, and therefore they know how many hours to compensate you for.
The last tip that we wanted to talk about is to beware of what you say and do on social media.
Yeah, we've had cases where some of our clients are on social media, whether it be Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and they're playing sports.
Bouncing on a trampoline.
Yeah, or throwing their kid up in the air, and all the while they're complaining that they can't do these activities.
And there's been times where they post things that have happened previously, but they post it during the period of time of their accident, so it actually looks like they were doing something that they weren't doing immediately after the collision. So it can be deceptive.
Yeah, and you know, nowadays the insurance adjusters will go to no end in trying to find inconsistencies in your story. Just be careful on what you post. When you're posting things, just think that it may be read by an insurance adjuster at the end of the case.
When you're done treating, it's important to let somebody in our office know, call or email us and let us know how you're doing and that you've been released from treatment.
Yeah, and that's really important because we wouldn't otherwise know unless you called us. Sometimes we'll get a call from a provider if we know the provider and they say that you're done with treatment, but most times we will not. So we won't know that you're done until you actually call.
But your conclusion in treatment is what actually starts the next step of ordering medical records and preparing a demand letter for the insurance company.
Yeah, and the sooner you tell us, the sooner we can do that next step, and it speeds up everything, and ultimately the time that you end up getting your settlement. Thank you again for trusting in us to take care of your case.
And know that if you have any questions or concerns at all throughout the process, you can always call us or email us directly.
Yeah, my email's rick@parkchenaur.com.
And mine's angel@parkchenaur.com.
Thank you.